What if your kitchen could feel both timeless and completely modern, where every detail feels intentional and every shade of gray calms the mind? Watch how a simple color story can turn a busy space into a quiet sanctuary of everyday luxury. Walking into this kitchen feels like stepping into a calm, collected version of yourself. The long galley layout wraps you in soft, muted slate gray while daylight spills across the island, catching the quartz in gentle flickers. Brass hardware glints subtly, and the air feels still but warm, like every decision was made to soothe rather than impress. You lean against the counter, bare hands tracing the cool surface, and for a moment, it's less about design and more about peace. From this low-angle view, the kitchen feels intimate and anchored, like it was made for lingering conversations rather than just quick meals. The U-shaped plan holds you in a cozy corner, while the island becomes a soft stage for morning coffee and late-night chats. The slate gray cabinetry feels both modern and familiar, the marble catching the light like a memory. Sunlight falls across the white oak, and the brass hardware glows next to your coffee cup, making the whole room feel like a quiet invitation to stay. This wide-angle corner shot turns the kitchen into the gentle heart of the home, where cooking and living blur into one. The open-plan layout lets you feel connected to the dining area while the island holds its own ground, a steady presence under the brass pendant. Soft daylight slips through the garden-facing windows, where leaves cast dappled patterns on the floor. The quiet palette wraps you in calm, the textures of wood and stone whispering of slow mornings and unhurried evenings. Perched over the island, the room feels compact but utterly complete, like everything important is within reach. The L-shaped walls frame you gently, the slate gray cabinetry grounding the space, while the marble and quartz shimmer faintly in the top-down light. The brass hardware catches the sunlight, giving everything a quiet sparkle without demanding attention. The floor feels warm underfoot, the ceiling's comfortable. You could stand here all day, just watching the way light moves across the countertop and the quiet life unfolding around you. Looking down the galley, the space feels focused and deliberate, like every detail is there to make your day smoother. The two long walls hug the room, the deeper slate gray on one side grounding the lighter open shelves opposite. The tall windows draw your eyes upward, letting daylight pour in like a soft blanket. The island sits at the center, its dark countertop a quiet stage, while the brass hardware and white oak floor add warmth without clutter. It's a kitchen that feels like a promise. No fuss, just clarity and calm. From this diagonal view, the kitchen feels like a living room that also happens to cook, the island at the center of everything. The warm slate gray cabinetry blends with the adjacent living area, the marble backsplash catching the light like a quiet accent. The tall window wall floods the space with soft, even daylight, and the brass pendants glow like tiny suns above the island. The white oak floor feels welcoming underfoot, the molding and paneling tying the whole room together. You can almost feel the laughter and clinking of glasses in this easy, layered space. From the living area, the kitchen feels like an extension of the same breath, the island drawing you in like a magnet. The slate gray cabinets and marble countertops feel refined but relaxed, the daylight softening every edge. The tall windows and French door open the space to the patio, so the kitchen feels like it's always spilling into the outside. The brass hardware and pendant lights add a quiet elegance, not a statement, just enough to make the room feel loved. You can almost taste the morning light on the countertop and the smell of coffee drifting through the air. Standing by the island, the kitchen feels focused and intimate, like this is where real life happens most intentionally. The elongated island becomes a quiet stage for cooking, coffee, and conversation, its dark countertop absorbing the light while the perimeter glows softly. The tall windows frame the day, letting it drift across the white oak floor and the brass pendants. The open shelves hold a few cherished pieces, not an army of decor, and the air feels still yet alive, like the space is listening as much as it's shining. This is the corner you come back to, again and again. At the sink wall, the kitchen feels like a quiet ritual where even the smallest tasks feel special. The light floods in from the tall windows, bouncing off the sinkscape and marble backsplash, while the slate gray cabinetry stays grounded and calm. The brass hardware warms your hands as you reach for a glass, the white oak floor soft underfoot, the open shelves above holding only the things you truly love. The air smells faintly of citrus and clean water, and the room feels like a soft exhale, a little corner of the house where time slows and you remember how good it is to just be here. From this corner, the Galley Meets Island layout feels like a perfect balance of structure and freedom, the room neither too busy nor too empty. The tall windows pour in soft daylight, turning the marble and quartz into a quiet dialogue of light and shadow. The brass hardware glows beside your coffee, the white oak floor warm and familiar, the molding and wainscoting giving the space a gentle rhythm. You glance out the window, feeling the kitchen and the garden as one, and for a moment it's less about the design and more about the way it makes you feel at home, even on an ordinary afternoon. That quiet balance of warmth and precision shows how a well-considered palette can transform not just a room, but the way you move through it, turning meals and moments into something that feels both effortless and deeply intentional.